the only feasible thing for them to do was to destroy them.
That's really interesting, but I still don't understand how we can use these ideas. How about some specifics? Let's go through the distribution system of a large athletics goods and equipment importer. The company is hypothetical, but the facts are authentic. Let's call it sports, and more sports. Sports and Sports brings in $76 million per year. Their product mix consists of 5 items coming from 5 different countries. The total duty payable to customs is over $13 million. Let's take a closer look to see how those duties are calculated. Then we'll come back and see how a foreign trade zone can cut these taxes. Let's assume that borrowing money costs 10% per year. Goods turnover 4 times per year. Our last assumptions are that 5% of all the merchandise is defective and must be returned to the foreign supplier. Another 5% of the goods are exported to other countries and never enter U.S. Customs territory.
All this sounds great, but where are the savings?
The company saves 10% on merchandise that never enters the country and 2.5% on duty deferral. Sports, and more sports can save from $400,000 to $1,600,000 every year in duty alone by using a foreign trade zone. This does not include many other savings. Manipulation and manufacturing is the third basic benefit. Products can be assembled, disassembled, tested, or otherwise changed. Here's an example of using a clean room.
This room is a clean room that we built for a company in Brazil named Liga. The Brazilian government has a protectionist measure that prohibits the importing of assembled computer parts into their country. So this customer is purchasing Japanese-made mainframe computer parts, and within this room they are testing the equipment and disassembling them into computer parts which can legally be imported into Brazil, after which the equipment is reassembled and sold to the Brazilian commerce.
Here's an example of manipulation.
What these people are doing is assembling tent parts that are imported from Korea. The reason they're doing that is tent parts fall under a quota restriction under the textile quotas, and the amount of importations is governed by the weight or the amount of tonnage that's imported per year. Customs has made a decision recently that included the weight of the poles and the tent skins into their quota figure. So this customer is utilizing the foreign trade zone by importing the poles and the stakes independently, which are duty-free by themselves and not under any quota restriction. Then after that, the customer will import the tent skins, which are under the quota restriction, but allows them to get in more tent pieces per their quota. And within the zone environment, we have these temporary laborers who are assembling the poles and the stakes with the skins, putting them into their display boxes and distributing them to buyers all over the country. This operation also is cost effective because of shipping the material. They can utilize their cube in a containers much better, and they ship the components knocked down instead of assembled.
Another FTZ operator is Dayton Ballinger of Oakland International Trade Center, Zone 56.
The one thing that has not been covered today is exporting through a foreign trade zone.
An innovative program moved medical supplies to the Pacific Rim.
In 1983, we had the first export exhibition at our zone in the United States of any foreign trade zone. We invited all the high technical medical manufacturing companies to come into our facility and display their equipment. On the other side of the coin, we sent 2 teams into the Pacific Rim countries to invite the doctors, nurses, medical people of all, whoever was involved in the medical profession, to come and do their buying. What we tried to do is bring 2 factions together that needed each other, and it proved to be a tremendous success. but the last amount of volume for exporting through this program is around $15 million.
Sometimes an importer will want to have his own foreign trade zone. One way is to lease space from the foreign trade zone operator.
We've had people, as Chris was saying, lease space from us, a certain amount of area that is theirs alone, that they bring their own employees in to work their operation. One of them is Topsville. They import fabric and trims, such as zippers, buttons, thread, and they repackage this for export to Panama, where it's made into wearing apparel, and then they re-import the wearing apparel. Now they could, and they have tried to send all this down to Panama, but they lose control. Here in the foreign trade zone, they can bring it in, they don't pay any duty on it, they repackage it, they have control of the inventory, what they're packaging, and then they can re-export it. We also have Citizen Watch Company right now who imports a large volume of watches, break them out into models, into racks, and then packs them in gift packs and re-export it to their market in the Caribbean. This again gives them a lot more control. They can bring it in if they get into a crunch here in the U.S. and they decide that they need some of these watches, they're readily available, and they can make entry on them at that time.
A subzone of the general zone is set up when manufacturing and processing is needed and cannot be done in the general zone. By using subzones, manufacturers can take advantage of what is called inverted duty. A lower duty is charged on parts brought in for final assembly than is assessed for parts imported separately. Electronics, auto, and other vehicle makers are saving substantial duty by setting up and using their own subzones.
Well, what do you think, Alan? There's just so much to digest at one sitting. How about a recap, John?
No problem. We'll review what we've talked about. First, let's talk about the FTZ itself. The basic benefits of a foreign trade zone are duty deferral, re-exporting including destruction, and manipulation and manufacturing. An importer can use a public operator, lease his own space from the public operator, or set up a separate subzone.
Look, Phil, if we can hold our shipments until the quota reopens, we can bring in all right. And that'll bring up the volume so we can get those cheaper truck rates.
That's right. Now, do you think that you might be able to...
Listen, better that, but
I think we can probably work it out so that the port here can give us a big handle on how we can further save some money.
No question about that. Just look at these numbers right here.
Yep. The Port of Sacramento is a major contributor to the economic well-being of the Sacramento community, and the Foreign Trade Zone, an innovative project of the port, is designed to add jobs, new businesses, and to further enhance the value of the port and its services to our shippers and to the people of the area.